morning, everybody. My name is Nicola and I am simply a stitcher. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, it's wonderful to have you, and if you are returning, thank you very much for coming back and spending a little more time with me today. So today I'm going to do a stitch with me, and this piece, as I'm sure you will be able to recognise, is Marta Dahlig's Envy, one of the 7 deadly sins, number 2 for me, after completing Avarice last year. So I'm just going to crack on and get some stitching done. So I'm going to zoom in, and this one is a chatty stitch with me, so there will be a little chit chat along the way. Don't know how long this stitch with me is going to last, I'll be quite honest. I don't have an awful lot on my chatty agenda, but you know, let's see how long we can go for. Just have a quick drink of my coffee. Very important coffee. Okay, so I hope everybody is well and safe. I am not too bad. Annual leave from work this week, which is rather nice. Although, having said that, I've had a bit of an early start this morning. There's a young baby next door, and at 4:30, baby woke up, and it took its parents some time to go and see to it. So as a result, I've been awake since sort of 4:30. It's currently a little bit later than normal starting this stitch with me. It's nearly 9 o'clock, and I've just got the house to myself. So I much prefer having the house to myself when I'm doing one of these chatty stitch with me's. It just sort of seems better, really. I don't feel so daft just talking to a camera. So the family are all off and out and in the far flungs. Middle child is at the boyfriend's. Youngest child is in school. Eldest child is off at her volunteer program that she goes to. So she's gone to see the doggies. And Andy has gone to Norfolk to film for his channel. I would have liked to have gone with him, but I have a few matters here that I do need to attend to, so I'm sitting this one out this time. But yeah, he's on Stanton Way, I think he's going. I have a terrible memory. I can never remember exactly where he's going, which is really rude of me, I think, as well. The problem is with, you know, 10,000 odd places to go. Yeah, it could be anyone. So yeah, so as I say, I'm on annual leave. Finished work on Friday, and I go back to work next Tuesday, with next Monday also being a bank holiday. So this week I have some work to do in the children's bedrooms, help them declutter and reorganise a little bit. I've got a little shopping to do as well. I know somebody that's getting married soon, and also this week here in the UK, at the end of the week, it's King Charles III and Queen Camilla's coronation. And no matter whether or not what your opinion is on monarchy, it can't be denied that this is a moment in history that we're all a part of. It's been 70 some years since the last coronation, so 1953 the last coronation, so 70 years. So, you know, for us to see one in our lifetime, we may see another one, we may see William accede the throne, but who knows, who knows what's round the corner. So on Saturday we are having a family day, and then I shall prepare an afternoon tea. And the afternoon tea will consist of sandwiches and cake and scones and you know, things like sausage rolls and pork pies, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think, you know, it'll be one too many on that one. It'll be a nice day, I'm sure. So since my last Chatty stitch with me, what have I been up to? Me and Andy went out for a day doing his filming. We went to a place called Southall, which is in I want to say Nottinghamshire. If I get that wrong, Andy's going to bray me. And it had a beautiful, absolutely beautiful minster, which calls itself a cathedral. And I was actually quite taken with the minster. It's absolutely beautiful building, but I love churches anyway. I think they're fascinating. And on display in the minster was some photographs and a pouch of Maundy money. One of the things that our late Queen did every Thursday before Easter was to carry on the tradition of handing out Maundy money. And the King's taken over that tradition now, obviously. But back in the 80s, she actually did this at Southall Minster. And on the wall of the Minster, there's a commemorative photograph of the Queen with the Duke of Edinburgh, and also a feature with some of the Maundy money and the pouch on the wall as well, which I found, you know, beyond fascinating. So yeah, we spent the day there. We did some shopping. We got some lovely local produce. We had a look round. We had a cuppa in a cafe, you know. But we saw some beautiful homes. You know, almost makes me wistful and wish that I lived there. But you know, it's a kind of properties that we can only aspire to. But yeah, I mean, we thoroughly enjoyed the day. You know, we took the time to go and sort of spend there, and we really enjoyed it. So that was on a Saturday. On the Sunday, my stepdad came to lunch, and I've not seen him for a couple of weeks because he's been on holiday. Him and my daughter and his sister took a little holiday together to his home, well, what was his hometown of Bridlington, and it sounds like they had a fantastic week. So it was nice to sort of see him again after a couple of weeks, you know. I've hosted him here weekly since my mum died. Obviously during COVID times we couldn't do that, but since then, you know, he's been able to come and spend Sunday lunchtimes with us, and you know, have a meal and a chat and what have you. And I think it's nice for him, because obviously he's living on his own and it's a very solitary, you know, sort of existence for him. And him coming across here and spending time with us is beneficial for him, but also beneficial for us, because you know, we get especially when the girls were younger, it was nice for me because I got that bit of grown-up conversation. So yeah, it's that was nice. And then I was back in work last week, and it's always the way, isn't it? The week before that you're due to take some time off, and the last day, oh boy, does it drag. I felt like last week was just never ending. A terminally long day. And I was just like, oh please, I really don't want this to sort of drag its way out. Friday afternoon was just horrendous. Other times on a Friday it sails past. But because obviously I was due to have a week off, it didn't. And then the out of office was on just as my stepchildren walked in the door, because they were here this weekend just gone. So again, I've had an uncomfortable weekend in terms of sleep, and I'm still trying to catch up. And it's also been compounded by the baby next door. Don't get me wrong, as a mum of 3, I absolutely understand that babies wake up in the night and that babies cry. My issue that I have is the time it takes before you hear anybody. I was fairly thin, but the time it takes to hear anybody attending to the child is excessively long, in my opinion. We heard the baby overnight on, I think it was Thursday last week, and at midnight the baby was crying, and it was crying loud enough to wake us up, and it was 20 minutes that the poor thing was crying its eyes out for. And then, as I said this morning, at 4:30. But to be fair, I did hear an adult in with the baby, because I heard them talking to baby. And then they did take the baby downstairs, which did lessen the noise. But once you're awake, you're awake. You know, so as a result, I got a nice early stitchy start. And I will get some extra stitches in on this piece today, because before I'd even started this this video, I was at 400 of my 500 per day stitchy goal. So May also sees another start and finish, or hopefully we'll see another start and finish. It's definitely seen a start. And the kits that the wheel chose this time, if you've not seen it on my floss tube, do pop and watch my floss tube video, was the Riolis kit, the dog show kit. and it is stranded cotton, not that wool thread, that wool sort of yarn that I've seen on other Reolist kits. And because yesterday was a bank holiday and the snooker final was on, way to go for the winner, by the way. I'll not spoil it in case you've not seen it, but you know, it was a good victory. I finished up my 500 full coverage stitches fairly early on in the day. Went to the supermarket run. Also had to pop out and pick up a chair for Andy as well. I just really got sort of stuck into that Reolist piece, and I've already pretty much got the head of one of the dogs done. I did say in my floss tube that I didn't think it would take too long to do, and I still stand by that. So yeah, and any extra time during the month I will just put into Maui Princess, because with it being now nearly 50% completed, she's the next one in line for a finish. Oh, more coffee. In case any of you were wondering, for me it's coffee with no sugar and just the milk. So I'm just going to briefly flick through some of the comments I've had since my last video, since my last Chatty stitch with me. Comment about the realm of Middle Earth and about the confusion about whether or not it's retired or not. That it was forced to retire previously, and you know, some it was a limited edition run, and some of them were kept back basically. So but I mean, I got mine when it was released at the outset, so I don't know much about the whole retired and not retired sort of issue. All I know is that after I purchased it, it became retired. But no matter, I mean, if you can still get it, great. It's a lovely chart to stitch. Having said that, as I said before, I've seen that somebody on FlossTube, and it kind of escapes me who. I'm really sorry. He's doing it on 40 count. I think it's 40 count. Well, I'm doing mine on 25, and I'm having a hard time at times seeing things. So holy moly, 40 count, no, not today, thank you. I don't think I've ever done a piece on 40 count. So comments about my stitch count. So as I said before, I do use Stitch Pal as a tracker to track my full coverage stitches, and working at 500 a day plus any time when I can add in some extra, like today for example, I will add in extra on this piece. I know I have the time to do it. I've currently worked just over almost 71,000 stitches, full coverage stitches this year. So that is the pieces that are in Pattern Keeper. So it doesn't include my monthly start and finishes. So it doesn't include the eagle, the map, the flower fairy, and whichever one was the other one that I did, because I can't remember. I'm sure it'll come to me at some point. I've done 4 so far, start and finish. Or London, that was it. But London is not quite finished off yet. So that figure doesn't include my non-full coverages, because all of these kits I'm working from a pattern, I'm working from paper. So next year, I was asked, Petra, my friend on Instagram, and I were having a conversation last night, and she was like, I wasn't sure about you doing a start and finish each month, but it's working well. Well, yes, yeah, absolutely it is. I'm having June off from it, and then we're back in it in July, because as I've said before, it's 10 months of the 12th, and then June and December, if any finishing needs to be done, those are the months to do it. So Petra said to me, are you doing the same thing next year? Well, I hadn't got any plans to, because I want next year to be a full coverage focus. But I may do. What I might do, thinking about it, is put a non-full coverage chart in, maybe as a weekend project. You know, do 500 full coverage stitches as I've done this year, and then, you know, the rest of my Saturday or the rest of my Sunday put in on a non-full coverage, because I still have a number of kits. So I might do something like that, or I might just say, okay, for, you know, one in 3 months we'll have a monthly start and finish, or something like that. But I don't want to do it to the extent that I've done it this year, if that makes sense. I mean, the good thing about it is that if you do a monthly start and finish, you're guaranteed a finish. And so far this year, I've got, you know, 4 monthly ones done, plus at least 1 full coverage one, which is the polar bear and cub, has been fully finished. Has been finished. Not fully finished. It can't be fully finished. And I was also thinking about doing a whip, a kit, and a whip parade and a whip and kit parade all in one. So showing my works in progress, showing my kits that I'm still to do, and showing my finish so far this year. And if I do that, I'll do it in June before I start again on kits in July. So I'm thinking about doing like a mid-year parade. Get my fingers caught. says it was nice to have a little chat, and Petra said some lovely things to me. That that she likes to obviously watch what I'm doing, and she does feel inspired when she sees me getting through these pieces, which is lovely. It's always lovely to have nice feedback. So where else have we got in comments? So people in the comments as well give me lovely feedback, like thank you for being encouraging and things, which is super. It really is. It's nice as well that you guys talk to me about your stitching, stitching updates of your own in the comments. I do find it interesting to see how other people are getting on and what they do in sort of certain situations. So my Yorkshire Map finish was quite a popular finish. It had a lot of interest on Instagram, and also Andy does a monthly live for his channel, which happened last night, and I sort of pop in the last sort of half hour, and I've got a couple of his subscribers also subscribed to me, and he showed them the Yorkshire Map. And the map was really lovely to do, and it was lovely to see all of these places that I knew or knew of coming together on a cross stitch piece. After every building was completed, or every location was completed, I got on and I did the back stitch. I didn't do the French knots, however, because I was using a fairly small sort of 8-inch hoop, and it was one of those that if you're doing the French knots, you need to make sure that you're placing your hoop so as not to crush or destroy the French knots that you've already done. And I'm kind of glad I left them until the very last, because to do those French knots later down the line, it was daunting, but it meant that they weren't getting crushed or damaged, and I weren't having to go up and redo them. It took me all morning on Sunday morning to do the French knots. I had about what you can see here on the screen is about 70 holes deep, 70 holes across. I had about 3 times that to fill in with cross stitches for the border, and then do the French knots. And I did the border really quickly, but the French knots, they took forever. Came out well. I was very pleased with them. They look beautiful, and even though I'm not a fan, I'm not bad at French knots, and I've kind of got a method now. What I might do is just do a quick sort of try speaking properly, Nicola. I might just do a quick tutorial on how I do French knots. So yeah. What other comments? My princess looking great. Yeah, it is. And like I said, that is my next one slated for a finish if I can. And of course the map too. The new project looks cute with great colours. Oh yes. The colours on this Riolis kit are something else. The pattern is much more muted, but the actual threads are some of the most beautiful and bright colours. There's like oranges and there's greens and there's reds and there's blues, and it's a very happy picture. And I've had a thought if I can make it potentially into a flat fold or something. Might have to look out a tutorial. Hannah works at a dog rescue, so what I might do is I might gift it to them to, you know, to do an auction or something to raise money to support the dog rescue. And my last comment that I've had most recently was from the lovely Karen, the Needlebug. Thank you. Always enjoy your videos. All projects beautiful. Thank you for sharing and enjoy your stitching journey. And it's lovely when, you know, somebody like Karen just pop on and make that kind of comment. Karen has absolutely got my back, and I love this lady. I think she's fabulous. When I was having issues a few weeks ago, you may remember my small rant about dislikes. I was having my issues a few weeks ago. She immediately reached out to me, and we had a brief conversation about it, and I popped onto a live, and you know, it got mentioned again in a live, and I absolutely thoroughly appreciate having people like Karen in my corner. You know, so, you know, thank you, Karen, for your support. Thank you for your kindness, really. And trust me, if I ever get to the USA, I'm coming to see you, missus. I'm going to come and stitch with you. She was also very encouraging. I've been saying for a while about wanting to do some live stream work, you know, like Andy does. But I have a very limited setup, so the live stream would be pretty much like this, but just perhaps not quite as close in on the stitching. That you would hear me, and I can respond to your sort of questions as they come up, kind of thing. You know, so I don't know when I'm going to get one of them underway. Like I said, I keep talking about it, but the problem is getting that regular time and that regular peace time at home to be able to do it. I've still got all three girls at home, and as they grow up, it's not that they get any more needy than what they were when they were children, but their demands on my time are different now. So, you know, there's this. Parenting doesn't get easier. One of the first lessons I ever learned about parenting, it doesn't get easier, it just changes. When you first have your children and you've got your baby, you know, they cry because they're hungry, they're thirsty, they're dirty, they're tired, they're bored. Then you get to the sort of toddler stage when they're wanting to learn and to know and to grow and develop. And then you've got the preschool age where they're taking that development to the next level. And then you've got school age where they are learning about friendships and interactions with their peers and learning more. And then you've got the teenager stage where they don't really want their mum, they want to be out with their mates, and you know, you're a taxi and a bank. And then you've got sort of the young adult stage where they perhaps realise that mum isn't as black as you paint her, and it's nice sometimes to go and have a lunch with mum, or go and get your nails done, or do a bit of shopping, and you know, that kind of thing. So my girls have kind of evolved enormously, and you know, now as sort of young ladies, I'm going shopping with one of them later today to go and buy some things for the weekend. And then the other one said to me, look, if she doesn't get home and get to go out with you in time, it's fine because I'll go with you tomorrow. So they're the way that they want to sort of spend their time with me has changed enormously from being pretty much surgically attached to me as small children. They are now, I'll always be mum, but I'm also a friend, and I'm a person that you can go shopping with and you can go and have a coffee with, and a person who will look at you and say, do you really want to wear that? And the house can sometimes feel very busy and very noisy, and those of you that have got teenagers stroke young adults at home will absolutely know where I'm coming from on that. Adding to that, obviously I've got Andy here as well, and coming in and out, and I work from home, so very often my home is filled with my office. The house has taken on a hugely different dynamic to what it was 4 years ago. If I turn back the clock to 4 years ago, to 2019, so before COVID, before it had even been talked about, back in 2019 as a family, I was working in my office full time, and I was on a shift pattern on that role because I was in a different job role. But still, Monday to Friday and one Saturday in 3, I was not at home. So if the girls needed something or wanted to know where something was or can I have something, they either had to rely on Andy or wait for me until I had a break or a lunch or whatever, and then I could answer their urgent messages, and sort of not put things right, that's the wrong word, but tell them what they needed to know. And working 9 to 5 Monday to Friday in an office had huge benefits. It meant that I had time in the morning to myself. I had travelling time, so I could sit on a bus with a book or with some music in my ears or whatever, and that'd be absolutely fine. Loved it. And then I'd get off the bus and I'd go and make sure I picked up something for my lunch, a breakfast item as well, because very often I'm very naughty, leave the house without breakfast, go and get my lunch, and then head to the office, and that was it until the end of the day, and then back on either the bus or sometimes the tram, very occasionally the train, and get myself home. Perfect. When I came home, generally speaking, everybody else would have had the tea, so I'd have my tea, I'd have a bath, and then I'd sort of sit with my stitching for a couple of hours. And that's how my Monday to Fridays ran. And then at the weekends, didn't do much. And obviously Andy would do the shopping during the week as well while I was at work. Didn't do much, might have a little bit of housework to do, might go out somewhere, that kind of thing. Not hugely dramatic, nothing, And the girls, 4 years ago, so Hannah would have been in college, so she'd have spent the bulk part of the week at college. Victoria was in school, and Lauren in 2019 would have been she would have been 10, so she would have been in a sort of last year of junior school, looking towards comprehensive school. And schools and college, it would work that they would go out Monday to Friday, go to their school stroke college, come home, shed their uniform, put on some clothes, some other clothes, and either be on computers, watch TV, do a bit of homework, that kind of thing. So things were very much in a routine. And then it'd be Andy doing his bit of work in between as well. Fast forward to 2023, because of COVID and the pandemic, I work from home full time. For this house not to have somebody in it is very unusual, because I'm here 9 to 5 working, so I can't leave unless I have like a day in the office. Hannah splits her time between going to the dog sanctuary, going to Grandad's, and spending a couple of days a week here. Lauren is still at school, but in comprehensive school now, and does lots of after school clubs and things, and spends time with her friends. Victoria's working, but also has a boyfriend, and sometimes she's here, sometimes she's not. My evenings, instead of being filled with trying to get home and a meal and a bath and a stage, because I'm working from home, yes, I still have my meal and my my bath or a wash or whatever, depending on whether or not I've been out anywhere. I might go to the supermarket. Usually we have sort of 2 trips a week, one to a supermarket, one to a local sort of food market. But I don't have all that travelling. I would set off from here at 7:20 in the morning to start work at 9. And I'd finish at 5. If it was that particular week, I'd finish at 5, and I might not get home till 7. Sometimes I might get home at 6:30 or 6:15, depending on how I got home. But I can now spend so much extra time with a needle in my hand, and I love that. So the world has changed since COVID. A huge amount of things have changed. We are still cautious when we go anywhere. I still have a mask at the ready in case I feel the need to use it. There's a lot of people now tend to use online shops, home delivery, that kind of thing. I still go into a shop, but I'm still picking and choosing my times of when to go, and I like to sort of try and go when it's not busy. And that can change literally on a knife edge. Usually what happens, if I go to supermarket, I finish work and straight away off I go. 5 o'clock, log out of my systems, kids stop behind because they're usually home by then. Me and Andy pop off down to Asda's and go and do the shop. Last week Andy says, can we have tea first before we go, rather than when we come back? Yeah, sure, no problem. Went to supermarket after tea. Absolutely horrendous experience. When we'd gone before tea, it was relatively quiet, get through fairly quickly, no problems at the checkouts, no waiting, no queues. The supermarket sort of tends to have, enough, has this stocking of the items that we buy. Go an hour later and it's horrific. There were children everywhere running up and down, parents everywhere. It just all of a sudden got busy. And I was like, it was almost like it was too noisy for me. During lockdown, if you had to go to a supermarket, it was quiet. There weren't many cars on the roads, and you know, people were solo shopping and keeping a distance and all the rest of it. And now, as sort of things are still recovering, I mean, let's face it, COVID's not gone away. The world got a whole lot noisier. So in a lot of respects, I still go to office once a month. But in a lot of respects, I'm really glad I work from home. I save time and energy. I save money because I'm not in the middle of a city centre where I'm tempted by, nipping out to this shop or that shop on my dinner break. And it's quiet, and I love peace and quiet. And then after 5 o'clock, the girls come in and all hell breaks loose. So I think as well, my pace of life has changed. Whereas before COVID, everything was kind of in a hurry. I'm now much more relaxed. So, and you kind of realise what the be all and end all is, don't you? I think as well. So there we go. Anyway, I think I've pretty much run out of things to say, which is a good thing really. I mean, I've got a couple of 100 stitches in here, which is quite good. So I'm over my full coverage target for today. Let's have a look. Yeah, I've done 400. I'm now at 618. So I've done a couple of 218 stitches as we've been sat in sort of 50 minutes. So I'm going to carry on and move that up to around 300 before I start on my little piece. So just move that out so you can see some lovely greens and blues there. Really pretty colours in this. I do like it. So yeah, so that's all from me. So as ever, as I say on every video, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Think about doing so before you leave today. It is free. There's no payment for subscribing to the channel. All I ask is that, when you finish watching this video, if you do have the time, please do go and watch another video of mine. There's plenty there in the bank. Let me know what you think about French knots. Do you think a tutorial video might be helpful? If so, pop a comment down below and I will certainly endeavour to create one. And if there's anything else that... I'm not a teacher, so when I say I can teach, I don't really mean in that sort of respect, but is there anything else that I do that you'd like to sort of see more of? I mean, I've done the starting and ending of the threads video, but do you want me to do a new one of those or that kind of thing? Just let me know. I'd be very interested if what people's take on it is. So yeah. So as I said, take care, happy stitching. Thanks very much for watching, and leave me a comment, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.